This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast.
Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable.
What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing.
Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
Welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast, brought to you by our friends at Pilot Games. If you're like Parlay Pete, our friend Joel O'Donnell, who we'll get to in a second, and you like to gamble, make sure you grab one of those tablets when you're out at the pub, the bar, heck, maybe even the restaurant, and play their games, because when you do, your community wins. Hey, you're not in trouble in a playoff series until you lose a game at home. Vegas seems like they might be in a little bit of trouble. The one thing the Wild can say is they have not yet lost a game at home, but they did win one on the road, and it was in fun fashion here in Vegas. Parlay Pete, John King, I got you guys with me. Parlay Pete, let's start with you. Let's set the scene here. Parlay Pete, he got the name because he loves parlays. He'll walk over to Planet Hollywood, get a dozen parlays, sit in the sports book, wait for him to cash. You hit none of them?
Hit none of them. Yeah, oh yeah. I like the $5 parlay, the chance to win the lottery. Take that right to the moon. Hit none of them. Move on. But you don't really lose. Like, I look at it like this. I could lose $40 in blackjack in like a minute, or 8 parlays, $5 a piece. You know, I'll lose that $40 over a number of days or hours because the sporting events take longer. So always shoot for the moon carts. Don't win any of them. That's Parlay Pete for you. I'd rather play Pilot Games. You know, I have a better chance when we get back to the Twin Cities. Some of those electronic pull tabs from Pilot Games, that's going to be my new play.
You're kind of throwing out a vibe, though, like you hit every parlay last night with the hotel robe, the hairdo, the shades, burn the midnight oil.
I thought I would go with the hungover, like the hangover version of Parlay Pete. You know, like giving you the Wolfpack vibes here. First time ever I've tried on one of these snazzy robes in any hotel I've ever been to. I don't really need the sunglasses, I promise. No beverages consumed last night. But I really couldn't fall asleep, dude. I was wired after that game. It was a fun one. Good to see the Wild, kind of get what they deserve. I went back and looked at Money Puck prior to game 2. They have moneypuck.com analytical site. They have that deserve to win-o-meter, right? And in game 1, despite the loss, the Wild were at like 48%. So it was almost a coin flip game. And our good buddy John King was wise enough to tell us between game 1 and 2, it's a race to 3, meaning 3 goals. The series, of course, will be a race to 4 wins. And the Wild got 3 in the first. And there were some rocky patches in there. You knew Vegas was going to push, and you would know best, Carts. It's probably hard to play sometimes when you're front running by so much. You're probably not as locked and dialed in. It's just human nature. Ultimately, Minnesota wins game 2, 5-2, and we got ourselves a series. Love it.
Yeah, and John, you had a couple of things on your bingo board. What did we hit?
Well, we only got one of them. Or no, we didn't get any of them, I don't think. We only had the one assist from Brodin. I don't know that the Knights hate our guys. I think we hate this guy named Hag. And then Zuki and Kirill, they were both happy last night, but not happy together. Maybe that doesn't matter. But what a game. It was great. I just loved it, all of it. It got a little stressful at the end. So first of all, you're in Vegas, okay? So the rest of the people watching this, 10 o'clock start. Oh my goodness, is that weird? I watched TV shows like before the game, like full episodes of multiple shows. I dabbled in the Timberwolves. And the worst part about it is when Vegas started making that run late in the third, I reached for the nicotine pouch at 12:08. Not a good idea. Not a great way to get to bed. But I was like, this is really stressful. No one else was awake in my house. It was dark. Couldn't eat on the TV tray because the Thai place closed before the game started. So I was out of my element. I think the whole state was out of our element. It was wild. 10 o'clock start is crazy, just crazy. But it was well worth staying up.
It's here, 8 o'clock start even took a while for the game to roll around, and then it ends like where we're at right now. it ended at 11 o'clock. You get back to the hotel midnight, somewhere around there, and you're trying to get to bed. But Wild stay over in Vegas. I like to play because usually they fly after game back to Minneapolis. But with this one, you don't know if you're going to OT and how long it would be, and you don't want to be flying back, getting back at 6 a.m. local time. So spent the night, but quick little sleep. I get the swollen face with a little bit of sleep, but whatever. We'll have to do some lunges on the airplane on the way home, sweat it out maybe a little bit, but well worth it coming back with a split. Kinger, how important do you think that start was for the fan base to kind of keep them interested, around, and awake?
Well, we're going to talk about the fan base because we got a message for them. But so watching that pass, okay, so we call that that's vodka sauce, right? Is that what you call that? When a Russian makes a sauce pass, it's vodka sauce. Is that what Kirill did? I mean, I found an angle of it that I didn't see on the broadcast. It was unbelievable. It was ultimate frisbee. I've never seen.
Sick.
Boldy in his press conference said that's the best pass I've ever seen. I think Kirill is maybe an alien. I don't know how he did that. And that empty netter, can you imagine being that high skill where you're in a phone booth in your own D zone? I don't know the directions when I drive. I use the map even locally. This guy just turns around and flings it into the net full ice. I mean, this guy is a cyborg. He's unbelievable.
He might as well have been in the first row. That's how far back he was in the D zone.
I mean, this guy is unbelievable. And it's a gift to the state of hockey. Obviously, other people are playing well too, but the skill on this guy is insane.
So I thought Tom Reed brought up something great on the radio broadcast, and that empty netter went in, and it's so spot on. But every single day that Kaprizov is on the ice, before he gets off, he practices shots like that. Him and Zuki are messing around. When Zuki was hurt, it was him and Boldy, and they take 180-foot, basically 200-foot shots all the time, messing around. But he did not miss. Like, that thing was square in the middle of the cage from as far away from the opposition goal as you could be. You're right, Kinger. I said it. I kind of feel like I might have been spot on, but the time off between the end of the regular season and the playoffs, I know it wasn't a lot, but for a player, a couple of days feels like probably a bye week for an NFL player. And it's different. He looks better. Eriksson Ek looks better. And we saw it last year when those three guys, Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Kaprizov, they were the best line in hockey for like 6 weeks, and the Wild ultimately couldn't make that push and get in the playoffs a year ago. But if this line, I'm a little nervous about loading up and having a top line just be as dynamic, and maybe you don't have that depth scoring. But if they're going to play like this against one of the best defensive teams in the league on the road, man, this could be a series.
Yeah, I got a few things with that. One, I think what you're talking about too, and what I'm seeing is Kirill was chasing the game in the Anaheim game, and at when he first came back, he didn't have what we call timing, and now it seems like the game has slowed down in his head again, where he's finding his lanes. Like, that pass is a great example, jumping into space, even the play on Boldy's first goal game one and second goal game two, Kirill's making plays that he was trying to make earlier and almost forcing it. Him elevating his game was him trying harder. And now it looks like he doesn't have to try harder. The game's kind of coming to him, which is super scary if you're on Vegas, because when he starts kind of freewheeling, watch out. The other thing, when I was he's back, that pass, if you look, he did the patented 2 and 10, the mohawk, the rip around. And when he's using his edges and making that play, that's another indicator that he's kind of on. The only thing we didn't see was the bat signal last night, Kinger. Yeah, and maybe that's because they weren't behind. That comes out third period down a goal, the bat sign.
Yeah, we didn't see the thigh pad pop out of the Ninja Turtle hip pad pop out of his breezers. But the hair was messy. He was smiling. And if you haven't gone deep, you got to get the algorithm to just be only showing you that Kirill pass. It's not that hard. Click on 3 of them, you'll get about 10 more. It is that's the one of the coolest. It's a 3-dimensional hockey play. It really does look like ultimate frisbee, and also to catch it. I mean, that the Boldy skill to that's like a center fielder running straight back and catching it Willie Mays style. And I think you're right. It's all about that, the love of the game, screwing around after practice like a little kid and working on all that stuff. I don't think people do that anymore. Everything's become so structured and robotic. And even whether it's Marc-Andre Fleury, Zuki, Kirill, these guys are still rink rats. And that's a rink rat play. I mean, you got to do that over and over and over again. It just shows you if you love the game will love you back. So what a great start for the team.
Yeah, I think we also got to talk about who they were doing it against. Braden McNabb, plus 42 on the year. That's second in the NHL. Only guy he was chasing was Ryan McDonough. And you look at Braden McNabb might be the steadiest, best D-man. And coming into the series, Cassidy said he's the most underappreciated defenseman in the NHL. And the Wild put him -4 last night before the second period ends. And he's taken the lone 2 penalties for Vegas. So the guy's been in the box. He's been -4. And it's not like the Wild are beating up trying to chase matchups. And Vegas doesn't have like a weak D set. But the Wild have turned what would be their strength, Vegas's strength, into a weakness. Shea Theodore looks like a pizza man. He's turned the puck over a bunch. He was responsible for a couple of the opportunities going the other way that the Wild scored on. McNabb not good enough in recovery. So the Wild kind of punching him Nick Hague style right in the mouth. And we didn't talk about that with Kirill. Well, he took one right down Broadway and went down, popped right back up. And this isn't a story that I think is developing. So Hines mentioned, and you go back to it, it was the 7th Street Savages and Broad Street Bullies, whatever you want to call them, the last couple of years under Dean Evison when we wanted them to be physical. We wanted the anger. But with that, they led the league in majors and minors, and the team had a reputation for and having a parade to the penalty box. Hines said, listen, that's hard for a team to just turn off. And he said, last year when I came in, I couldn't get them to turn off. But we've controlled the emotion on the bench this year. And with that, we've taken a lot less emotional penalties and we've played better hockey. This series is a perfect example of that. Like Ryan Hartman has not retaliated. Kirill Kaprizov gets punched right in the jibs. And at the same time, if you rewatch that, Matt Boldy gets taken down right behind Kaprizov. And the Wild, they stand up, stand their ground, but they don't go overboard. And as much as you like somebody to run out there and defend Kirill, he stood his own ground. He stood up. He was totally fine, talked to the ref, but maintained focus, and they finished what was the most important objective, and that's playing the hockey game. I think that's a huge story right now.
And I like the fact that you bring it up, Karts, from that standpoint, just the change in temperament maybe for the group, the focus level for the group. John Hines always uses that word mindset. But, in that spot, in that game, the refs are probably looking to call the Wild on something, right? Vegas didn't have a power play the whole game. The Wild
I think that's the first playoff game. Yeah.
And so it's like late in the game, up 2, you go do something dumb in the scrum. There's a chance that they're just going to give you that token roughing minor, right? Not even it up. So it was great job by the Wild to maintain composure in that spot. Also, slew foot on Eriksson Ek by Dorofiev, which is making its rounds on Twitter. So Vegas could have been in the box a little bit more too. It's been a very low penalty series thus far. But in between, so yesterday morning after morning skate, we get a chance to catch up with the coaches, just the broadcasters. We can be a little bit more honest with them. We kind of filter out what we can and can't use on the air, at least I do. But John Hines talked about the penalty discipline, right? He told us penalty discipline was going to be a key in Game 2. He thought that across the NHL playoff series, Game 1, not as many calls. Game 2 across other series, more calls. Well, the Wild penalty discipline. And before the series, he used a term like being smart as a competitive advantage for the Wild, right? And in tight situations in games, how do you handle it? How do you manage the game? Line changes, penalty discipline. So far through 2 games, the Wild have not beaten themselves. They've made it hard on the Golden Knights' top players, and that's why we got a split.
Yeah, I thought Hines is so good at, we've always said all year, this guy's like a DJ. He's like Diplo. He's got a couple turntables back there. Even just the line changes, right? Just putting Hartman up there. You had almost an instant replay net drive early in the game to change the momentum for the Wild. And this guy has his hand on the pulse, man. I don't know, maybe after the game, did he go to a club and DJ, or did you see him anywhere? Is he at kind of I don't know what, because you don't see that anymore. You don't see guys that are like, yeah, we might shuffle the deck. He shuffles the deck. He knows who to ride, who to maybe pull back, and it's been very impressive all season long, not just this playoff series.
And playoffs are, Cassidy said this too, and Hines actually reiterated it. It's about adjustments from game 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, when the adjustments occur. And both coaches admitted that they enjoy that part of coaching, and that it's almost a chess match between the 2 coaches. So they get to compete more than 2 coaches would during a regular season. But Cassidy, he made some adjustments too, and I think it helped him in game 1. So we showed a pack on the television of the Wild's defense pinching, and talking to some of the players after the game too. They're like, hey, that makes such a difference. We don't pinch a lot, but Vegas wasn't expecting it. So we pinched, we kept the puck in the offensive zone, and that's kind of when they started to turn the tides on Vegas in that first period. They were on their heels first 5 minutes, a couple of good pinches, a couple of scoring chances off that, and the Wild settle in and start playing good hockey. The Wild tried the same thing. You remember, go back to game 1. Wild were good first 10 minutes and they were pinching. But Cassidy made an adjustment. He moved his wings out higher in his defensive zone to create the point of contact and the battle higher to make it kind of nerve-wracking for the Wild defense. And then they broke out through the middle of the ice. Go back, watch the tape. They were kind of committed to it. And it helped Vegas. Well, this time the Wild just made sure, hey, it was still effective when we pinched, but have a high forward. And even the skill guys like Kirill committed to high forward 3 coming back, and he turned the puck over a few times, high slot, then right back on the attack. It's a chess match between these 2 coaches making in-game adjustments too. Now, Hines is good, and he is great at knowing and seeing, recognizing who on his bench is vibing that game and giving him more ice. He's also not afraid to say, all right, Rossi, you've been our number 1 center all of the year, most of it with Eriksson Ek out, but I'm sorry, right now it's the playoffs. We got to roll with Ryan Hartman because he looks like he's going, makes the adjustment, and that's one of their best lines. And credit to Hartman. I talked about him in the pregame show too. I love the way that this guy's playing right now. And think about this. I know I'm on a filibuster. You guys can jump in a second here. But so, and Karen, we've talked about this on the podcast. Paychecks stop in the playoffs. So there's no more money. Everybody plays for the love of the game and to win. It's like hockey at its purest. And that's why I love playoff hockey the most. I think you can see almost instantly in Ryan Hartman's game that suspension and that reputation was weighing on him. He instantly becomes a different player when the paycheck stops and you start playing for the love of the game. He agitates again. He's playing with the puck again. He's right there on the line that he has to be on to be his best. And it's like he's playing mentally free. So don't think that this player safety and all these other things don't weigh on a player and that you can just turn the page. I don't think that there's a correlation between or a lack of a correlation between Ryan Hartman playing great hockey right now and the fact that the paychecks stop. And if something happens, he misses a game or 2, but it's in the name of being the best player he can be right now. So bouquet to Ryan Hartman and his entire line.
Yeah.
You worry about Rossi at all?
I don't worry about him. actually in some ways optimistic about it, because when you can find a way to be good and you have somebody to backfill when somebody's struggling, that's a really positive thing. Everybody has ups and downs, and everybody has to battle through times of low confidence. I think if there's one thing to worry about with Rossi, it's like, how is he going to find his confidence? He's still on PP2, so if power play 2 can somehow get their cookie and he can make a pretty good play, I think that will help him. He's playing with Brazeau and Trennian, and those two wingers after game 1 were like analytically the second best set of wingers in a line. So Rossi kind of has a little nose for the net. So if he can jump on a Brazeau loose puck or a Trennian loose puck and pop it in, who knows? He could just bounce back right away. But I'm not overly worried right now as long as Hartman's playing well.
And Hartman's been I watched his post game, and he's really become, I think it's more interesting because he was really taken to kind of kangaroo court in this town with that suspension. He was on trial on KFAN every afternoon about, this is the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I just thought that was hilarious. It was like, really? Have you watched playoff hockey? Do you know what this guy is? And he had a great line. He said, we want to be undeniable. That was his line, right? And I think that's kind of the way it's like we need to play our style of hockey so well that nothing is left to chance. It's not about the referees. It's not about the bounces. It's undeniable. And whatever Hines is telling them about this turn the other cheek thing is working, because to a T, every guy that was interviewed after that game was like, it's just 2 games. We got to, I think Hartman said, stay even, let's just, we've been in this movie before. That's the other thing. This team has playoff experience. It hasn't, you look at the games played, right? They haven't broken through, but they've done it every other way. They've gone into a series, been complete spazzes and done a bunch of penalties and lost. And I think they're learning from all that stuff, even though it's a different coaching staff. So seeing Hartman step up in that way, you can tell he's a leader in the locker room.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. I want to go back to Hines and the adjustments and some of the adjustments that he didn't make, back to like Ryan Hartman and those guys saying stick with it. So after game 1, I think a coaching staff can go a lot of different ways. We played well enough, but the Wild had 20 shots. They threw a lot of attempts at net, but only got 20 through. And you can say like we played well, but not well enough. Hines didn't make too many adjustments. They stuck with it. And I think Cassidy mentioned that too, that both teams kind of want to play a similar style and both kind of want to hold court and not be the team that changes the style of play. And the difference in game 2 is that the Wild just had more heart, more passion than Vegas did in the style. So very similar styles. And Hines does a good job kind of holding fast. They're not making too many adjustments in terms of the way that they're going to play and saying, you guys played well enough. It was good. Let's stick with it. We just need a little more jam. And he talks about puck battles and stick battles and all these things. The Wild had that in game 2, and it's a massive reason they won. But I think we also have to call a spade a spade. I don't have the expected goals for in front of me right now, but I think the Wild did a good job defending. You can't expect to beat Vegas getting 17 shots. I don't know that they've had more than like 25 shots in any game against Vegas this year. So Vegas might be sitting across the way saying, hey, we were a little loose for 10 minutes and the Wild beat us on that. But for the most part, we kept them to 17 shots and we were okay. So the Wild have to be careful to listen to Ryan Hartman, not get too low, but also not get too high and know that they still need more.
I think if you look just at the last couple of minutes, I know it was at the time a 4-2 game, but when Vegas pulled Aiden Hill with 3 minutes left, you know, there were some hairy moments. That save by Gustafsson on the Dorofiev one-timer sets up the Kaprizov empty netter. Like, I just, in my head, as that action was unfolding, I'm thinking to myself, this is just one win for the Wild if they can hang on. Like, you got to beat these guys 3 more times. And you know Vegas will get more desperate the closer the Wild inch to winning more games in this series. Imagine being a best, it's game 7. We're back here in Vegas, or the Wild are up 3-2, hopefully in this series. And you got Aiden Hill pulled with the Golden Knights season on the line. Like, it will get harder. It will get more tenuous. It'll get more intense. And this is where the Wild in the past, again, they've had a series lead in 4 straight series, and they've ultimately cracked. This team felt different early in the year when we saw them at full strength because of their ability to defend and their ability to stay with that structured team game. It's going to be tested here. Vegas is going to come out hungry in St. Paul. And to Kinger's point, your point, Carts, like, I love the fact that they're saying the right things right now. That locker room after the game, we were standing outside. I was waiting for Jake Middleton on the radio side. Kevin Gorg was doing his thing on the TV side. You were standing out there. We were chatting. Like, I didn't hear any celebration. I didn't see guys coming out, with this like swagger that was like over the top. It was kind of a few high fives and some good jobs, guys, and guys limping around and ice bags. Like, it was playoff hockey. I love that. Let's hope it continues.
Do you think some of the shots was change in style with the 4-0 lead? Because we went 10 and then 3 and then 4. And so I was just wondering if that was I wouldn't think so. It's not like you're trying to pack it in for 2 periods, but did they make any adjustments that would have created less shots, a more defensive style of play? Did you guys notice that?
No, I don't know that they did. I think that there was a commitment to have somebody above the puck. So the Wild did not give up, and I don't think they gave up an odd man rush against. And game 1, that was a different story. They had the Eichel breakaway, the Saad breakaway. They had 2-on-1s. So there was, I think, once they got to the 3-goal lead, a commitment to have a really good third forward high. And with that, they maybe gave up a little bit on the forecheck, but in the end, it was worth it. And it worked. But some of that, too, I think, is just Vegas they were pressing. They came out in the second and even at the start of the third with an intensity that they haven't had. And speaking of intensity, the Wild have done a tremendous job against Jack Eichel. That guy's been a complete non-factor in this series. I haven't even noticed him. And in fact, the times that I notice him is him kind of slowly skating through the neutral zone, like without urgency. And for whatever it is, or whatever the reason, or whatever the Wild are doing, it's working. And coming into this series, it was, can 97 against the trees of Vegas defense be good and outplay Jack Eichel? And the Wild have to win that battle of the stars. And right now they are. And the knock on Vegas and that misfit crew was that they were good, but they didn't have that superstar, that one guy, game changer, game breaker. They get Jack Eichel. They feel like they have that guy. They win a Stanley Cup. He doesn't look like a game breaker right now. And Cassidy, though, so keep an eye on it, game 3. Cassidy kind of called his squad out and challenged them and their effort. So if you're a player and coach goes out and kind of says, like, the other team wanted it more than we did. Like, we think it's going to be easy. They're a little bit more desperate. They were hungry, and that was entirely the difference. That's a shot across the bow of any team, and Cassidy threw it. So we'll see if Jack Eichel responds or how he does. But right now, the Wild keeping him in check, and it's actually amazing.
Yeah, and we know he can do it. I mean, 4 Nations, he was unbelievable. Obviously, he's won a cup. It's interesting. Yeah, when he plays the way he did the first couple games, it reminds me. Remember when guys would wear like polo shirts and have their collars popped? They'd wear the collar up. He's got
that style.
Yeah, no, but he's got so many head fakes and like little, like, you can see how it's almost like a youth hockey player that would bother you. He has that. But we've actually seen him play that other style, kind of the bearded, two-way, 200-foot animal. So maybe he had a health issue down the stretch. Maybe he's still banged up. But yeah, a quiet Jack Eichel is a good Jack Eichel.
He's not been
that way. Don't wake him.
the Jack Eichel that we were rooting for in the Four Nations tournament, picking people's pocket on the back check, flying up the ice, making plays with pace. He's not been that. It's certainly been different. And whether that's fatigue. Now, remember, hey, Kinger, this might be validation of our theory, even though Kirill was hurt, but you rest that Ferrari over the Four Nations tournament while everybody else is putting miles on theirs. Is Kirill a little bit more fresh than Eichel? Is Eichel tired from what's been a long season? And Faber talked on his fatigue level later in the year and how real it was. Maybe Eichel's feeling that right now, and the rest for the Wild's Russian Ferrari is paying dividends.
Well, you're seeing that across the league, right? Tkachuk goes LTIR, plays his first game last night, scores 2 goals. I think he had an assist as well, right? Eck had a little time off. He came back even stronger. So that tournament was so unique because it was like they played the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs in the middle of the season, and we're watching this first round of the playoffs. I mean, it's not an easy road. So to throw that in to your regular 82 game schedule, yeah, if you didn't do that, it's got to be a luxury. It has to be a luxury. Like the Capitals had nobody play in that tournament, so we'll have to see how that plays out. That would be for your theory, that's a pretty good control group right there with that team.
Hey, Kinger, got to ask you too. So the Thai food place was closed, so you didn't have anything on the TV tray. But if you were desperate and really hungry, where would you go? Because I think it's open 24 hours.
Well, I don't miss many meals. I did eat the Thai food. I just ate it before the game started. It was like 2 hours before, But had that not been the case, I would have rolled over to Cub. Maybe go get a rotisserie chicken. That's like the doorbuster of the grocery stores. I think every college kid in the world can make a rotisserie chicken last a week, right? So get some Cub pub burgers. If you don't got tickets to Thursday or Saturday, which we'll get into, I want to talk about the fan base, remind me. But head over to Cub and grill out. 8 o'clock start. Get some coleslaw, get some pub burgers from Cub. Buy your libations, as Karts likes to says. If you need a THC soda because you got high anxiety like Gorg, it's all there for you at Cub, our friends at Cub. I'm not going to transition you. I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah, leave the kids at home because the atmosphere might be wild. And speaking of wild, why don't you call our friends at Wild Construction? If you had a storm in your area and the house maybe got hit with some hail last year. They specialize in roof repair, siding, exterior things. Heck, your garage door maybe dented, the deck maybe took a beating, even the grill. But they specialize in all that stuff. They take care of you. They'll make it happen. They have the resources on their website where you can check it out. You can see the dates of storms. And if your house falls within one of those highlighted areas, they'll send somebody out there. I'd like to remind everybody that you do have 12 months before you have to make that claim on insurance. And a lot of times it does take a handful of months, especially over the winter, for that damage to show up. So wildconstruction.com, they'll make it happen. Look them up. And if you want to look somebody else up, you can look up me and where I'm going to be May 3rd. That's at Aquarius Home Services open house in Little Canada. I actually go every year. This is the first year I'm scheduled to be there because they've got great deals on their filters. They've got great deals on their water systems, heating, cooling systems. They'll have electrical deals. They also have a great activation out back with they've had petting zoos in the past. They roast a pig. You have great barbecue, good French fries. It's almost like a mini state fair right there at Aquarius Home Services. Great event. It's free. Get there. I'll be there Saturday, May 3rd. It goes from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, big weekend each day. Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. I recommend you go to this open house, Kinger. I also recommend you try some slaw because it feels like it's slaw season.
It is. Jimmy Slaw, the best in the business, family-owned, Minnesota-run, pineapple, original, jalapeno, spicy. Get the crunch, get the cool. Gimme some Jimmy's.
I like it. Hey, I got to throw one more out there because we've got Parlay Pete in a robe with the shades. He's got a podcast of his own, one-on-one with Joe O'Donnell. Boy, tell us where we can find that.
all of your major podcast platforms. It's just me and a guest, hence the term one-on-one. Had Jesse Granger, who's like the Mike Russo for the for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was my last guest. Prior to that was Matt Harder, wild strength coach. If you want to kind of learn about recovery, weightlifting for these guys in season, what a machine Erickson Ek is in the conditioning and strength department, all that stuff really cool. Appreciate that, Cards. One-on-one with Joe O'Donnell.
Hey, did you ask them about hydrogenated water? So I've been seeing the players walk around with these fancy, like, rectangular blue water bottles. Keep an eye out for it. And I asked, and Harder, he'll know, it's hydrogenated water. So somehow they take like distilled water and they put more hydrogen molecules in it, and then that's what they drink, and it's supposed to like ignite the cellular reconstruction inside your body. Maybe that's what these guys did after game one to be just beasts game two. But keep an eye out for it. That's real. That's real. Hey, guys, winning is way more fun. Let's just hope that they keep doing this. I want to talk about one more thing, Kinger, before you get to the fan base, and we'll start setting up game 3 and 4. But the Wild and their ability to kind of beat Adin Hill. And Adin Hill's underlying numbers are that he's susceptible kind of up top, specifically to the glove. And they've found an entirely different area to attack. Boldy's been all over, beat up the 5-hole of Adin Hill. And the top line has scored, 4 goals now? 5 with the empty netter. And the 4 with Adin Hill in the net have gone to the exact same spot. 5-hole on the ice. Not one of them has not hit the bottom pad of the net. And I think in some ways they're inside Adin Hill's kitchen. He kind of looks lost in swimming after each one of those pucks go in the back of the net. And just something for, I think, the viewer to keep watching as the Wild get these looks, because they're going right at the 5-hole of Adin Hill.
That's a great way That's a great way to get to a goalie too. He's like he's all chafed. He's bow-legged. He feels like one of those little. Remember when you play croquet? He's like that. The metal bar you stick in the ground. I mean, that's the worst way to get scored on, right? I mean, that's up there, like between your legs.
Yeah,
I mean that's
there's
awful.
nothing worse. That's like the nutmeg in soccer. There's nothing worse than getting nutmegged in soccer. And you get nutmegged 4 times in 2 games. You're struggling.
The Kaprizov one, like, I love Kirill to death, but I was like, he was looking to pass. I don't know if he was just trying to deceive Hill or if he was really hoping that Boldy would be coming late there over his right shoulder. But then he just pulled the trigger and he literally muscled it right through him. And you're right, he's been awkward with some of the saves. Yeah,
that Kaprizov goal is actually unbelievable. He's looking off the D and Adin Hill, and that's why Adin Hill looks so silly after it goes in. No clue that shot was going where it was, and Kirill hit his target. Like, literally the size of the hole that you can hit there is like, it's like this. Like, it's not big. It's like a triangle.
It's like
probably
that,
size of like a hot pocket.
The promo, the minor league promo, you shoot from center ice. They put the board up, and it's got the little slot that you got to hit it in for $1 million. And Kaprizov's like, no big deal.
And he hits that not looking. He's looking the other way. So he's like, oh, no problem. Right through the 5-hole. And Adin Hill had no chance, man. We're getting goal scoring. Yeah.
Yeah, the Erickson Ek save early, right? The pad. And then the rebound, Erickson Ek out of midair hits him in the helmet.
Yeah.
That was, looking back on it, he was kind of swimming back there too. It wasn't like a textbook push across and read the play. It was Trenyon with that spinning blind pass. It was a great dish. And that was more, I'm 6'5", 6'6", kind of awkward and lucky in retrospect, right? At the time, it was like, oh, it was a big save. Kept the game scoreless, and he robs Boldy with the glove, kind of flashy. And after that, the Wild owned him.
Yeah, and let's go the other way too, because I think there's an interesting pattern developing, and a lot of times when you're shooting, you're looking for a lane, but I think the guys have started to try to find spots on Gus, and Gus has been susceptible on the blocker side. We had a video pack, so Vegas got a couple of goals. Hurdle's goal and Howden's goal were to the blocker side, short side, and Vegas kept going back there. That's where Eichel went on his breakaway. And go back and look at Saad's breakaway chance. He doesn't even look. He puts his head down and fires blocker side. And Vegas came out game two, and kept firing at the blocker of Gus. They're trying to go there. And there were juicy rebounds the first 5-6 minutes of game two before Gus and the rest of the club kind of settled down. But two things I think to look for as teams try to attack the goaltenders, and both teams I think are going to stick with the same goalies. So it's going to continue to be a story.
Is that a thing as a player? Like it's like you were at the Midway at the State Fair, and they're like, hey, if you want to score on Gus, it's high blocker. If you want to score on Hill, it's 5-hole, and they just somebody tells them that, or they're looking at their iPad and they just commit to that for the whole series. They kind of stop thinking it, stop making it happen in the moment, and they just truly, if I'm going to break a tie, I'm going high blocker.
I think there's more to it than that, but yeah. So the resources that the coaching staff and players have, it tells them all kinds of data where every goal has been scored on a goaltender, and then you can see statistical anomalies across the league and try to target those. That's what the fancy stats do now. But I also think that they watch every play and they say, look at here. When you shoot glove side on this guy, you get, call it 1.2 rebounds per 10 shots. You go blocker side, you get 3.7 rebounds per that. Let's commit to the blocker, because if the playoffs are a second chance game, we get more second chances off the blockers. So shoot that side. And it happens to be he's susceptible to getting beat clean there. So maybe punches out or a little nuance to the game. But again, there's always attention. I think I talked about this in pod 1. More attention paid to goaltenders and their tendencies in the playoffs than at any point in the regular season, where they'll notice every movement of the glove. Is it forward? Is it down first? Same with blocker. Does he push out? Does he keep room in the 7-hole right here? What does that look like? And they start to get all this data, and then it's like playing blackjack. You want to get as close to beating the house as possible. So you use the analytics, you play by the book, and you hope that in 7 games it helps you win.
Yeah, and that makes sense. The body of work, right? You're going to get that much time against a goalie. That could be the difference. Those extra rebounds and stuff. Can I tell you a Minnesota fan moment from last night that'll segue into the fan base? So we're up 4-0, okay? In my house, during the playoffs, my wife watches in another room, or she'll listen to the broadcast in another room and come in when something happens. I don't know why. Maybe it's nerves. So we're up 4-0. And she rolls down the stairs looking like Radio Joe. She's got the robe on from upstairs, maybe the same amount of chest hair as Radio Joe. And she comes down the stairs. We're up 4-0. And she goes, I hope they're not using it all in one game. Better save some for the next
Come
two
on.
games. And I go,
Come on, Mrs. King.
I go, what? I go, do you know that what you just said is literally the most Minnesota? Like, I have a podcast to work on this. And, it's in my own house. It's in my own, I felt like I had to put one of those 95 masks on from COVID to not catch what she was putting out. I couldn't believe it, but I've noticed something. So I think the fan base this year when the playoffs are starting, there was a little of this wait and see feeling. I was feeling well, first round, I know we're in the playoffs, but first round, and how's it really going to go? Vegas is supposed to be better than us. I'm telling you, man, Thursday night, it better be packed. It better be savage. No Simba Cam. I want, get your face paint on. These guys have worked their asses off all year to get where they are, and they can get over the hump. They can break through, but it's going to take all of us. I want whatever this PTSD was, or whatever you're waiting to see. It's there. It's in the room. Show up, buy a ticket, get to the game, scalp a ticket, whatever you have to do. You got Thursday night, 8 o'clock start, juicy. That'll be electric. Oh, by the way, Saturday's Kirill's birthday. Okay. So that's not going to suck. So I can picture first start of the game, the whole Excel Energy Center singing happy birthday to Kirill. I can see it. I can see it in my eyes. So get off your chairs, put your TV trays away. We're coming home with money in our pocket from Vegas. Go to the damn game and lose your voice, because there's no wait and see. There's no wait and see. They've proved it all year. They deserve to be here, and they can beat Vegas. So I'm just tired of there's just this hesitancy. Like the monkey's been buzzed too many times. Like, just grab the buzzer again. Quit being a coward. I'm tired of it.
As a well said, Kinger, as a transplant, as a guy that's still new to the scene here for just a few years, I was trying to be positive, Pete. Not Parlay Pete, but Positive Pete on the Twitter machine as the regular season was winding down and things were getting a little dicey. And I was, challenging the fan. Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at. I tried to challenge the fans to be like, hey, we got this, all right? This team all year long, when faced with adversity, they find a way. Stick with them. They're going to get it done. Couple more wins. They're going to clinch. I didn't think it would come down to 20 seconds left in game 82, but they got it done. But a lot of times, for every one of the people that, every one of the people that said, yeah, you're right, Joe, they got this, there was 2 or 3 or 1 that said, why? Why should I care? They're just going to get swept in the first round. I spent thousands of dollars the last 20 years on this team. Why should I? What's different about this team? So I see it. There is the hesitancy to jump in for this hockey team. And who knows? Maybe this thing doesn't go the Wild's way and it's another first-round loss and we're very disappointed. But why would you look at it like that? Why not believe, with the way they played through the first 2 games, that they were a heavy underdog coming in, and they've woke this Vegas team. If they didn't get the wake-up call yet from game 1 and 2 or their head coach, I don't know what's going to give them the wake-up call. I expect Vegas to be better, but let's expect the Wild to be better at home, where they play pretty well down the stretch, and knowing that if they play this way, they're going to give themselves a real chance to win this series.
Well, and I think if you put your player hat on right now, too, that one of the negative stories of the year is that they just could never really figure it out and get it going at Excel Energy Center, and their home record wasn't up to snuff. Good road team, for whatever reason, couldn't win at home, and that's the opposite of what it's been like for years. So the fan base they're feeling that, they're hearing that, but with these 2 games at home, that club has an opportunity to entirely change that storyline. They can say, it didn't matter. We won enough games at Excel Energy Center during the regular season, but we're going to win the games that matter. And to your point, Kinger, we talk about this all the time on the podcast. The energy in the building is contagious and infectious. So rip off that COVID mask from Stacy and tell her, hey, no more of that stuff, and let's go to the game, and you cheer, you lose your voice, and and same with everybody else too. Like be excited for it, be happy for it. I think it's going to be a good environment, and I think it sets up well. Initially, I thought the Wild needed to win game 1 here in Vegas to get the split, but I didn't see them being able to go in and score 3 in the first and kind of have themselves a game in game 2. They did it. Congrats to them. But now Vegas being challenged and then having to go into St. Paul, which I think is going to be kind of a feisty environment, I think it all of a sudden starts to set up well for the Wild.
No, I think it'll be electric. I wanted to talk about a couple other topics I wanted to run by you. I thought Trennan... there's a couple just interesting things. Marcus had 6 hits in the first 10 minutes of that hockey game, which I don't think I've ever seen before. He ends up with 12, which is insane. Trennan does look completely different in the playoffs. Like, he had that spinorama pass in front of the net. I'm like, geez, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, so the big bodies, it's a big boy game in the playoffs. So this strategy of Billy is to kind of load up on these guys that people might have been scratching their head about at times during the regular season. It seems like the big boys have an advantage in the playoffs. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally, yeah. And I think you go back to Hartman too. Even just that kind of player, they tend to be better in this style of game. And Hines almost sounds like a broken record because he continues to talk about style of game. When he talks about the individual, about a line, about the team, it's when they play the right style, they give themselves a chance for success. And he's stuck with it. And I think Billy has seen that, and he put a plan together. They stuck with it. They've kind of had the same narrative that, hey, like these guys will be big and be impactful when it matters. And it does matter getting to the playoffs. You absolutely have to get there, but everybody knows the game changes a little bit and it becomes a big boy game. Now all of a sudden Billy has the pieces to be able to compete. But let's listen to Ryan Hartman, not get too far ahead of ourselves. They've been able to compete right now. They still have some guys that are undersized, like a Marco Rossi, that can be better, that can do more. And they're going to need those guys to be good, be better by the end of this series to likely come out on top.
Karts, I was going to ask you, White Cloud was just getting haunted by Foligno last night. It was just, he was putting a lot of storage into the cloud in Vegas. And is there a thing that happens when you're on the bench if a guy keeps getting smoked on your own team, like he just keeps getting crushed? Is it like is your own team sort of like, man, can you twist away from one? Like this is like killing our vibe, like seeing you get squeegeed off the glass. I mean it for both teams. Like Rossi's been hit quite a bit as well. I'm wondering, like, is that a thing? Like, are guys like, stop getting killed? I mean, it changes every night, right? Who gets it and who gets got and who doesn't. But is that a thing?
The irony is that we were talking to Marcus Foligno post-game. By the way, nice hat, John King. Marcus Foligno was wearing that same one, talking about throwing the weight around.
That's good.
Love that. Wild on 7th shout out. But we were talking to him last night, and I was like, hey, congrats, man. 12 hits. That's a franchise record in a playoff game. And he goes, I don't know that I got 12. He said, I missed a couple of guys free and clear, smoked the glass, but we made a huge noise. And I think just in general, like that matters. Like him running around, and whether he plasters White Cloud or not, they hear him coming. They hear him hit the glass. He knows he's heavy. And his message actually has been unbelievable and unchanged. It's, hey, I'm playing a series, not a game, and I'm going to continue to hit because it may not show up in game 1, it may not show up in game 2, but if we get this to 6, 7, 8, yeah, Zach Whitecloud might all of a sudden start to turn out of these before the puck gets to him. Then I might start playing with the puck a little bit more. Then Kirill might get an extra chance or two, and Acker, and I actually think that, and Anthony and I on the broadcast put a chart in, that the team has like the highest number of hits with the lowest number of penalties of any playoff team right now. And the guys are doing a great job, specifically Marcus, being physical in the offensive zone, keeping the elbows down, keeping the sticks in check, and playing physical, aggressive, but not over the line, not reaching, disciplined. And I think it started to pay dividends in game 2. We'll see, but I have to imagine that that's not going to change going forward.
So those are details of the game, right? The little things, the stick placement when you're going to finish your hit. It goes back to that being smart gives you a competitive advantage that John Hines talks about. And I'm wondering this, like this whole series, and I mean Bruce Cassidy, the Golden Knights head coach, even brought it up. Like the expectation would be Vegas will wear down the Wild. They're a bigger team. So, like Bruce Cassidy said, we're going to get better every game. We're going to try and wear them down. This is how playoff hockey goes. Like you hope that by the third period or by game 6 of a series, you've worn down your opponent because of your size, and that's how we're going to play. What if this series goes the other way? The Wild have thrown 90 hits through 2 games, I think. They had 36 in game 2. I think they had 54 in game 1. I'm not a math major. But 90 hits in 2 games – I don't know. Maybe we didn't see this coming because, the mantra and the on paper is Vegas is bigger, Vegas is experienced, Vegas is going to hit you. What if it goes the other way? What if by game 6 or game 7, Vegas is like, man, we're tired of seeing this moose, delivering 10 hits a night? Through 2 games, it's all of a sudden become a possibility for me that I'm going to keep an eye on the rest of the series.
And it has to be intimidating for Vegas. Like when you see Moose post game, he looks like he just got off the golf course, and they ask him, how he's feeling. Yeah. He's like, well, I took all last year, off, so I'm good. Like I'm totally good. Like I'm here all night. I'm here all series. I mean, that's not a good feeling. If you're White Cloud or any of those guys that have been bugs on the windshield, and this guy's over there looking like a Disney prince, just like, I actually feel like $1 million. I can't wait to do this again on Thursday. That's not what you want to be hearing.
His personal vibes are at an all-time high right now, right? Like he's feeling good about himself. He's playing his best hockey. He knows his role. He's a leader. It's what you paid him for. It's what you brought him in for. Good character guy. But if he's setting the tone like he is and scoring goals, and you talk about a power forward that 31 other teams would love to have, but the way he's playing right now, it's Marcus Foligno.
Yeah, underrated awesome. how important it was too that the Wild had 3 lines score goals.
Yep.
They load up the top line, and that group has to get multiple points. And the question then becomes, can line 2, 3 produce some kind of offense? The Wild in their first 3 goals had goals from 3 different lines, and Marcus Foligno being one of them, I think that's huge. He's an emotional leader of the team. He gets on the scoreboard. Things change when he scores. Now, he's only got 3 playoff goals in his career, and Wild haven't lost when he scored in a playoff game. So there's that. Let's keep hoping that Marcus Foligno continues to score. But the depth guys showing up on the score sheet, massive too.
Can we talk officiating? How does the crew work? So when you're in a playoff series, is it a different crew every game?
It's supposed to be.
Okay, so it's been uncanny the amount of, there's just no penalties. So there's no special teams, right? And everyone, with the Twitter accounts telling you Vegas is the least penalized team in the last 3 years. So that narrative is out there. But do you expect that to continue to be the case, that there's just no special teams? This is a 5-on-5 series. Is that going to maintain for 7 games? Because that's really interesting.
I don't think that that's on the referees. And I don't know, maybe the referees do the first couple games together. So how do you say his name, Joe? Is it Lecuyer? Frederic?
I think it's Lecuyer. But he came in for Brian Pansich, the linesman, in game 1. So he was a standby ref or official who had to jump to the lines after Pansich got injured, and then he was a ref in game 2.
Right. So different ref still, but maybe similar to the same crew. But I don't think it's the referees that are the reason that there haven't been penalties. Vegas is the least penalized team in the NHL. I think they're the only team in the history to have under 200 penalties called in the regular season. So they're disciplined. And Cassidy has said, we defend in such a way that we don't reach, we don't trip, we don't take a lot of stick penalties, and we don't have to take penalties. And the Wild, again, controlling their emotions and doing a good job on the forecheck, not reaching and doing all these kinds of stick things too, have stayed out of the box. Some of it's the refereeing, maybe a little bit, but I think it's more just discipline from both the teams to play their style, but not have a parade to the penalty box, so to speak. What are the refs missed? Maybe the slew foot on Eck?
Cross check to the face.
The game 1 cross check on Hartman.
Yeah, that
I was only asking more tactically. Like when an umpire starts a baseball game, the pitcher's like, okay, this is what we're doing tonight. I was just curious. For instance, if that group of refs was in Vegas on Thursday, tomorrow night, you're gonna have kind of a new set, right? If they're calling things that are marginal. I just didn't know if they switch. What do you think we see game 3, right? So 2 pretty interesting games, right? We only had the 37 hits last night, but we had 30 blocks, right? We're still not getting shots. We didn't get shots really in either game. What do you think tactically potentially looks different tomorrow night, or how do you think, the Wild or Vegas changes their game potentially?
I think Vegas is going to have more desperation. They're going to have more urgency. I think even if you look at the first 4 or 5 minutes when Vegas was playing, they're still kind of nonchalant and not as direct. So like they're trying to make plays and get the D cycling in the offensive zone and looking for like the perfect seam. And their game probably isn't as simple as I think it will be on Thursday night, tomorrow night. I think they're going to be a little bit more like the Wild, where let's shoot the puck and get to the net. Aside from that, I don't know what Vegas will change defensively. They tried to switch up their pairs. I don't think that they're going to go away from Theodore and McNabb, who have been a pair all year. That's like their one lock, and the Wild turned it into a question mark. So they might mix some things back up there. And Cassidy has throughout both games kind of switched things. He's moved Pietrangelo with Hanifin, then Hanifin with Whitecloud. So we'll see what he does there. But again, I think it's the team that loses that kind of makes the most adjustments. The team that won says, let's roll out the same plan. Let's see if they can beat us. So I think the ball's kind of in Vegas's court to try to figure out a way to beat the Wild at what they've been doing well.
We'll get last change. Do you think Hines will have something holstered on that? Guys he wants to see against each other?
I'll tell you this. I think, sorry, Karts, I was just going to say, like, the Bouillon-Bogosian pair, they were both. Two. Yeah. So I'm not saying you make a change. The power plays haven't been there, which is part of the reason why Bouillon got into the lineup. It's something I'll just watch, I think, carefully the rest of the series is, can you continue to put them out there? But at home, you should be able to get them offensive zone draws, sheltered minutes. If there's a matchup if you don't want them out there against Eichel or Hurdle, you make that adjustment. But Vegas has the depth. I mean, their fourth line has been one of their better lines in the series from a zone time, and obviously the 2 goals by Howden in game 1, who then got elevated in game 2. So we'll see how Cassidy goes with his lines, but I'd imagine that's probably the pair at home, Bouillon, Bogosian, Captain Obvious here, that the Wild are going to want to make sure that they put them in advantageous spots so that when they're at home and they get that last change, they can be more successful.
Yeah, I'm going to be devil's advocate here too, though. So I think the Hurdle goal started with an ozone draw. So even that will get the staff thinking a little bit, on that. But I don't think that you can really pin them on Bouillon or that D set fully either. Like on the one where on Hurdle's goal, Trenning's the one that got beat by Pietrangelo. And then from that moment on, everything else breaks down. And that's the hard part. You're asking a rookie with 1 game experience to make a tremendous read on a dude with 2 Stanley Cups. Like that's not easy to do. Yeah. So I don't think you pin it on him. I also think you have to factor in development of the player. And I think Bouillon's mentally tough. He has to be that good. But I also don't know that the message is like, hey, we win, but you make me nervous. We're not going to play you right now kind of thing. So it's possible that occurs. And maybe the message might just flat out be, hey, Johnny Merrill's been a grinder for us all year. We got to get him in. He deserves for us to put him in. Or even Declan Chisholm if that's who's called upon. But it's certainly something to watch though. Joe, you're right.
Bouillon's fun it's an interesting kind of a secondary story to the series because the way he skates, like when he was bringing the puck up late, he was like doing things with his edges to go along the boards around guys that they didn't even think was a possibility. He would come in and just make himself sideways and just slide along the boards all the way into the zone. But then you'll see him in our zone. He's a smaller guy. When he gets hit in the snot bubble, he could go flying, so it's you got to kind of pick your poison there and set him up for success. But I do want to see the one-man breakout. I don't I'm fine with the 5-on-5 the way it's going, but we haven't really seen power plays really. Like we don't really know what that unit looks like yet. So it'll be interesting.
Right.
I hope they keep playing offense though.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Excited for Game 3 at XL Energy Center. Parlay Pete, we got to let you go. Shed that robe, cover that chest hair up, whatever you got to do to be able to catch this bird in time. Kinger, always fun catching up with you. Looking forward to seeing you Game 3. Good stuff.
Do you want the bingo? I got the bingo card though. This is the bingo card. This is the bingo card.
This is
We're
Game
in
3
Vegas.
bingo
Game
card?
3 bingo card. Unlikely goal scorer. Unlikely goal scorer. So what I mean by that is like Nyquist scores or somebody that is a new player. I would. So unlikely goal scorer. Some depth forward scores. 2 points from the D again. We didn't get that last time. And 25 shots. That's my 3 for Game 3. It might. I mean,
Let's
I don't know.
Parlay them together. Let's go.
You didn't even ask me about my bets. I had Kirill 3 points. I got the over. I mean, I was on it. So talk to me, Joe, when you get home. We're here.
I'm an NBA guy.
We're here.
So it's here.
Peace. Enjoy your travels. We'll see you.
See you guys.
Later.
Thanks.